everyone, and welcome back to Versus Live. I'm Todd Anderson.
I'm Ross Merriam.
Got Robbo over in the booth. Say hey, Rob.
What's up?
Hey. All right. We got one more match for you today featuring War of the Spark as we go through the previews and check out how these cards might play out in the new standard format. We've seen all sorts of new stuff today. I know I had my Grixis deck that I built featuring the new Nicol Bolas. I want to say God Dragon or Dragon God?
Dragon God.
Nicol Bolas Dragon God looked pretty cool. But the card that impressed me the most out of that deck was enter the God Eternals. Now, 5 mana, kill thing, gain 4 life, make a 4/4, mill yourself a 4. It's a lot of text. Basically, Ribbons at Night that makes a 4/4. It's pretty cool. Sometimes you hit Chemister's Insight. Sometimes you push yourself closer to Transforming Search for Escanta. Both pretty sweet. But that card, I think, stood out as not only a good buffer, but also just a great removal spell that can act as a win condition.
Yeah, and that card certainly stood out. We saw Liliana stand out in the previous match, and Enter the God Eternals also stood out for me in round 1. We played sort of a Demir Mirror. Even though your deck didn't play a lot of creatures, the card was still good. You had enough targets to make it worth it, and almost every mode is relevant for me.
Mm-hmm. Now, the new Teferi, I think, in your deck in match 1 was the card that stood out. Teferi, Time
Raveler.
Raveler.
That card has now stood out both times. I put it in this Esper Shell.
Yeah.
Seems quite good. When I get back from London, and I've got a quick turnaround for Richmond. That's a deck I'm going to look into.
Yeah,
and I'm going to be.
Week 1
telling
standard is going to be fun.
Tannen, if you're in the chat, take the list, do some stuff. When I get back, I want it tuned, and I want it good.
Nice.
I want to actually win a match of standard for the first time in 6 months.
6 months. Oh, yeah, since the last invitation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the first match. Second match, Dreadhorde General was good. What was your deck? And the Krenko Mop Boss?
Krenko, yeah. Krenko Tin Street Kingpin.
Yeah, 10 Street Kingpin. That card looked pretty sweet. The new Domri looked okay. Both things just pair very nicely with Llanowar Elves because they're not double red. It's either single red or a green and a red.
Yeah, really, Llanowar Elves was a standout card, but they paired really nicely with Llanowar Elves and paired well together.
You drew it all three games.
Did I have it in game 3 too?
Yeah.
Huh.
Maybe not. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. I never remember the times you don't.
Yeah.
All right. Now,
classic 7%er.
Third and final match. We have this Golgari deck that you've brought, and it's something we've seen before. This Molderhulk shell that gets back Memorial to Folly, and we use that with mill effects so that we get a sort of toolbox engine. We got 1 Massacre Girl. We got 1 Bantu. Now, these cards are pretty good, and they allow you to do some really interesting things, and being able to have those in your deck is pretty nice. Other than that, I'm going to get the name of this card.
Azoni Thousand-Eyed?
No, that's there, but I meant more so the other new card. We're going to be playing Storev Devkaren Lich. Come on. Really?
It's a lot of V's.
Can't you just... Come on, Golgari. Really?
A lot of V's.
You got to do that? Anyway, it's a new Lich. Does some cool stuff whenever it attacks or something.
Whenever it deals combat damage to a player
or planeswalker.
To a planeswalker, you get to return a creature that was not put there this turn from your graveyard to your hand.
No, this combat.
It's combat. But regardless, you put in a lot of things outside of combat, so you should have plenty of targets to bring back. So a very powerful threat in this deck should it survive. You've got a bunch of ways to rebuy stuff with Storev. You got Golgari Frinebreaker, you have Memorial to Folly, which Molderhulk can rebuy, and you have Find Finality.
Yeah, so my deck can play Magic forever.
Yeah.
So basically, I just want to try to stabilize early on, and then grind through natural card advantage via all these recursive effects. A very Golgari-style deck, which I like.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be pitting that against your baby. Well, you wrote about it on Star City Games this week.
Yeah, so that article went live today. So once you're done watching us, in 45 minutes to an hour, you can hop on over to starcitygames.com, read that article, especially if the deck I'm playing right now tickles your fancy, because I wrote all about heroic decks. I think 10th District Legionnaire was a very impressive card the last time I played the Boros heroic deck, so I built a lot around it. There's a couple Boros lists, the Naya list that you'll see here. I talk about that more in depth.
Here.
And the... and a Jeskai list with Cruel Obsession or Curious Obsession and Dive Down. So a lot of cool things to do with these cards, with Feather, with Krenko. Got a lot of pump spells to use that card. Samet Sprint to give it haste. So on turn 4, you can combine those 2 cards, attack with a 4-power Krenko, make 4 goblins. Got Aurelia to pump them all. which is super cool. The thing that the Green Splash gives you, though, is a lot of multi-purpose cards. The heroic deck has a lot of moving parts. You got your heroic creatures, and in this version there aren't actually a lot of heroic creatures. There's just Legionnaire. So there's a lot of different styles of creatures. We've got Krenko that wants to pair with pump spells. We want Feather that we want to pair with our removal spells that target each other, or maybe Defiant Strike to draw cards. We've got Legionnaire that pairs with any of them. We've got Arcanist that can Dreadhorde Arcanist that can rebuy any of them from our graveyard. So we want to get a good mix of stuff and a lot of different effects. And these cards are super versatile. We've got Collision Colossus, pump spell or kill something. We've got Thrash Threat, a creature or kill something. We've got one Integrity Intervention, pump or kill. We've got one Assure Assemble, protection or a threat. So all of these cards give you more threats, so you can play fewer creatures. They give you more of everything, so that now I can use that removal spell early, and then if I need another one, I'll have one later. But if I need it as a pump spell, I have it too. So you can make sure that you can tailor the cards that you need to the way the game is playing out. If you need more protection, you're more likely to have it. If you need more removal, you're more likely to have it. So the deck's going to be a little bit slower. The mana's a little bit worse, but we're going to be more consistent, which is pretty important in a deck that doesn't have a whole lot of card advantage or ways to tear through its deck. We've got Defiant Strike.
The utility with Feather.
Yeah, our card advantage comes from creatures, Arcanist and Feather. And then we've got, a lot of Scry, Samet Sprint, Immolating Light, the Sheltering Light.
Sheltering Light, and the
Arcanist.
and the 10th
not Arcanist,
district,
Legionnaire.
Legionnaire.
So we got 12 cards that Scry. So we can dig through our deck a little bit, but the consistency from the split cards is really important.
All right. Well, I'm going to be on the play here since I lost last match, and this is for the marbles, isn't it? Got some marbles on the line. Better reach back and get them, boy. Oh no, we busted your camera.
Oh no,
it's fine.
Did I ruin everything?
No, I ruined
you're
it.
fine.
Okay. Rob says we're fine, so he's right.
I mean, we'll see when you hold your hand up. We'll figure it out, but you didn't destroy everything.
Okay, how about now?
No, we're good.
All right.
Awesome.
Go. Woodland Cemetery.
Okay, I will play a tapped Sacred Foundry and pass the turn.
All right, now let's play everyone's favorite card, Glowspore Shaman.
You get to mill 3, and then if you want to, put a land on top.
Yeah. I kind of just don't mind hitting land drops here. Makes Explorers a little easier as well. So we'll put the Swamp on top so we don't take damage.
Okay, let's play Dreadhorde Arcanist. Pass the turn.
Yeah, that's a good one. Don't have a removal spell for it. Play the Jade Light Ranger, first Explorer. Go Graveyard on that one. And I kind of want to go Graveyard on this one too. I just want to find some way to interact with Dreadhorde Arcanist that's not blocking. I guess, we could just play this next turn and get back something, but I don't really feel like getting any of this stuff back. All right, go. And I'll just hold back both things to make it a little harder for him to attack with the Dreadhorde Arcanist. Something.
Okay. I am going to Samet Sprint this so I can get it at least out of the Jade Light Ranger range.
Okay.
We'll scry. I don't think we need that one. Looking for something bigger here. Then I'll attack, and then Dreadhorde Arcanist will target the sprint. Scry again, and don't need... Actually, I do want one more land.
So right now it's a
5/5.
5/5. So I can gang block, but that just means I lose to any pump spell. Or not any pump spell. I guess the +2/+2. Or removal spell kind of kicks my butt. I think I'm just going to take 5. Okay. It's a pretty big hit, but I think that's okay.
I'll play another Arcanist. Pass a turn.
Okay. That's fair. Alright, we're going to play a Wild Growth Walker and another Glowspore Shaman. Top 3.
The one main deck Walker.
And...
Okay, so you've been to the...
Do I want to keep the Woodland Cemetery? Yeah, I do. Okay. Your turn.
You kept a Woodland Cemetery on top.
Yeah, which means I'm going to play something next turn that either costs 5 or 2 things that cost 5.
This is a tough turn.
Yeah, with multiple Dreadhorde Arcanists, like, I can imagine that this is pretty tough. I'm hoping he doesn't have a way to kill Wildgrowth Walker. That would be nice for me.
I don't have a great way to kill Wildgrowth Walker. You know, I could just sort of go ham with these. I would be throwing away a Dreadhorde Arcanist, though, which I don't really want to do. You're at 15.
Yeah.
It's an interesting way to do it. I have a feeling maybe next turn you're just going to play 2 Explorer creatures. I think you would have just Merfolk Branchwalkered this turn, though, and maybe, like, protected your Walker, and on turn 5 gone Walker Jadelight, if that's your hand.
Absolutely.
So I don't think that's your hand. You could have the 1 Massacre Girl or the 1 Bantu and just be playing a 5-drop. The Bantu would not be that great because your board position here is important. But the Massacre Girl would just wrath the board, which also wouldn't be that great. So I'm not super scared of either of those. I'm not really sure what's in your hand.
Maybe 5 mana worth of things. I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah, could just be more dopey idiots. If it's just a hand of dopey idiots, then I think what I want to do is make sure I can deal with this Wildgrowth Walker. So let's shock it.
Okay.
Attack with 1 Arcanist and shock it again.
All right, I'm going to gamble a little bit. I'm actually just going to block with Jade Light and force him to have a pump spell, I think. Because if I gang block, he gets a free trade on a Glow Spore. And this way he needs to have just a regular pump spell, I guess. And I'm trading pump spell for Jade Light, which is not that bad.
And yeah, I just have to let this die, which is unfortunate. But I really want to deal with that Wildgrowth Walker.
Yeah.
Because I think you're just playing a bunch of idiots.
All right, so you're at
I'm going to go to 18 and play a Krenko.
Yeah.
And hopefully this lives. We've milled both Chupacabras. I don't think he has a way to get it back for 1 mana.
I don't. All right, so let's go.
That was not a great trade for me, but
Jade Light Ranger. We'll put the Lich in the graveyard. It's pretty good, but I need to get a 7th creature into the graveyard. So put 1 counter on this, and then I'm going to play a Molderhulk and get back to Overgrown Tomb. And your turn.
it is a big creature.
It is big. I don't think your deck can really fight through this stuff. Eventually, I'm just going to start attacking you with big things, and I don't know.
Well,
Can't really attack with Krenko, I guess.
maybe we can go big.
Sure.
Let's Colossus the Krenko.
All right, so he's a 5.
So, unfortunately, Dreadhorde Arcanist doesn't work with split cards as well as you would like. They changed how those work. So in order to flash this back, I need it to be 4 power.
Well, can't you target this first and then attack and then target this? And it'll check on resolution of the spell?
That I could do. Maybe that's better, actually. So here's my hand. I'm not it's all pump spells, and I have 4 mana to cast all of them and then flash 1 of them back.
Yeah, I like...
So I could make this a 5/5, and then
that, and then double on this. Or you start with Defiant Strike on this, I think.
And then both of those. What could I find?
We'll start on Defiant Strike. You might draw something better to do.
Yeah, maybe a removal spell of some kind.
Yeah.
So we're definitely going to Defiant Strike here.
Sure. So he has a +1 power temporarily.
Yeah, just drew a land, so that's not good. And the problem is making this a 5/5. I kind of want to target it again. Yeah, okay, so here's...
No, then the Defiant Strike just targeted this.
Yeah.
That's fine. All right, so Defiant Strike targeted this first.
Yeah, so we can get to Molderhulk?
Yeah. So we can get
Is that
6.
my plan? But maybe I just make it a 5, make this attack, and see how you block. And then I can use Samet Sprint after combat, but I guess you've already seen everything. I think you're going to be trading off the board minus the tokens regardless.
Yeah, this is pretty
because
big.
your creatures are all pretty big.
Yeah.
So maybe I just want to make more tokens. Yeah, let's define strike that.
Okay.
But then I could Samet sprint it, but then it still dies to the Hulk. There's a lot of things to think about. So we'll Colossus it too, so it's +5.
So
and then we'll attack, and then we'll Colossus
6
this
power, but it has how much toughness? 3, 4, 5, just 5 toughness right now.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a 6/5, and then with this, so we'll stack Krenko trigger, then Arcanist trigger. Arcanist trigger resolves first. It's big enough to now target this with CMC 4, get +4/+2, and then Samet sprinted as well.
Okay, so 4, 5,
with the
6,
trigger
7,
on the stack.
8, so you get 8 goblins?
Yes, and then it gets its counter. So
Okay.
I get 8 goblins. This has +2 toughness, +3 toughness, and already has 3, so it has 6. So an 8/6 and an 6/5. And we're 1 goblin short.
Okay. I believe I'm going to block like this. Yeah, let's do that.
And they both have trample.
Yeah.
So 14 minus 8 is 6. So you take 6 damage. Brings you to 9. I hadn't played a land yet, so we can just play this. Pass the turn.
That was a heck of a turn.
So I don't know, I used everything I had.
Yeah, but I'm at 9.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Is 8 goblins. So this is dead in 2 turns. 8 goblins against 2 things at 9 life. Smush.
I'll kill token.
7.
All right, block 2, take 5, I'm at 4.
So I have 5 left. You're at 4. Play a land. You can go.
Creature. Well, you lose now. That's
Masker Girl?
No, it's fine. Finality. Get back Wild Growth
and Jade Light.
I don't have a Jade Light.
Oh.
I have a Branch Walker, though.
That's not the worst, still.
I kind of want to get... I can get Wild Growth and... what's it called? Golgari Finebroker. I guess I might die to a pump spell this turn if I don't just gain the life, right? So, yeah, let's just make sure I gain the life. We'll play both of these. I'll gain 3.
Go to 7.
I could just sweep your tokens and put 2 counters on the Jade Light Ranger, I guess. But I like this a little bit better. All right, so I'm going to go to 7. And Surveil. We'll leave this on top. Branch Walker gets a token. And I'm actually going to attack for 4 now, I think. Does that leave me dead to a +4?
No, it leaves you maybe 1 short.
3, 1, 2. Okay, sure. All right.
I'm at 14.
Go.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it to where I was ahead, but then I drew land here, spell. Make that land.
All right.
You can go.
All right, draw Finebroker. Let's go ahead and cast it and get back a permanent. I guess we can just get back another Finebroker. Let's keep that chain going.
I think I might have needed to play that turn face down because I could have forced you to make worse blocks and left my position post goblins to be better.
You would have got 2 less goblins, which wouldn't... I mean, you left me dead if I didn't draw a blocker or removal spell for 1.5 turns or whatever.
I still think maybe just throwing away the Arcanist. If I make this a 4 and then get 10 goblins instead, maybe that's better. You'd put Molderhulk in front of the Arcanist, and then I'd have a 2/3 Krenko that got...
I was surprised you turned face up.
I'd have a 10/7 Krenko, which would be pretty hard for you to block.
Yeah.
So you would have been left with a Jade Light and a Molderhulk afterwards, I think, and then taken 5, and I'd have 10 goblins. So you would have been at 10.
I don't know. I might have been.
And then
I might have
3.
blocked differently to not take trample damage, or not as much.
Yeah.
All right.
But then you would have taken more damage off the goblins afterwards. I think you might have died if I had played it that way.
Right.
I'm at 14 from the attack.
No, you're at 10. You take
10.
4
Oh,
last turn.
you're good. This needs to be really good, and instead it's a plains.
All right.
Yeah, I think my original plan. It's still an all-in attack, but if I just go Colossus my Krenko, play the other 2 pump spells on the Arcanist, make it a 4/4, attack, get the Colossus again, pump the Krenko. Now the Krenko is a 9/6. Its ability resolves. It's a 10/7. I get 10 goblins.
Yeah, when I said you should you could pump the other one. I didn't realize you could already make it a 4 with the other 2 cards. So I think I accidentally tricked you into doing the wrong thing, and that was not my intention.
Well,
I was kind of just rolling with what you were saying after that.
Yeah, it was a hard turn. But so how do you block there? If I have a 4/4 and a 10/7, and you had a 3/2 Jade Light, a 4/3 Jade Light, 2 3/1s, and a Molderhulk.
So I put. So how big was it? Had 1 toughness, so it's 4 toughness and 4 powers of 4/4.
It's a 4/4 and a 10/7.
So I probably go like both Jade Lights onto one of the. Yeah, you would have been left with 10 tokens. That would have been better.
But both Jade Lights on that, and then Molderhulk and 1 3/1. You want to block with both 3/1s, I think, because they're such bad blockers.
I can block in such a way to trade. I guess maybe just like the 2 Glowspore Shamans, maybe trade for the 4/4 Arcanist. That seems bad. That was tough. I think you actually would have won if you'd done it that way. You just had
if you put both Jade Lights, I like that block. If you just put both Jade Lights and then Glowspore, Molderhulk, and then take 3, and then be left with 3/2 Jade Light and a Glowspore Shaman
versus 10 goblins when I'm at.
You would have taken 3, gone to 12.
Yeah.
You kill one with the wound. I go to 9 goblins. You block both, take 7.
Yeah, I go to 5. Facing down.
And now you have
7 goblins.
Facing down 7 goblins with 1 creature in play.
I drew Finality, so I might actually survive. And then I could just cast Finality and kill them all.
Or just gotten. I mean, I'd have 7 goblins if you just do the same thing.
This is too much content. Let's just move on. It was a lot.
Yeah. I think that would have been better. Tilt
indeed. Can I keep a hand that doesn't have any plays before turn 4? I don't know. Any questions over there, Robbo?
Yeah, for you, Ross. Any thought to Gruul Spellbreaker in the deck? Is that a good pump target?
I thought about it just because I like the idea of like having something to target with pump spells that they can't kill on your own turn. Maybe if you don't like Krenko as much and just want to be
gross.
Yeah, but like the upside, like this is kind of a deck where you need the synergies to come together. You're playing like weak pump spells, so you really need the cards to be like the best when you have everything that come together the way you want it to.
Yeah. And
there's just not a lot of upside with Spellbreaker. It's just a solid card. I do have some lists in my article that play Tajik, which is really nice with Swiftblade Vindicator, which plays well with pump spells, and protects your creatures from damage-based removal.
Yeah.
When you go all in on like a Swiftblade with that you Samet Sprint or something, they can't shock it. So there's some cool stuff with Tajik, and Tajik also pumps your other creatures with Mentor. You can pump it to pump a bigger creature. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do.
I'm going to keep this Mopey one.
I'm also going to keep a Mopey one, and we'll start with the Sacred Foundry.
Your turn.
Okay. Let's play a Temple Garden tapped.
Well, I'm pretty happy about that. No 10th District Legionnaire. Here we go.
Okay.
Card is quite good against me.
I will go to 18 and play Feather the Redeemed.
Yikes.
Pass the turn. Yeah, no removal spell for this one. Feather does survive the cheap removal that a lot of people play. Like, it doesn't die to... it's not going to die to cast down because it's legendary. It's... the Lava Coil is probably the best one.
Mm-hmm. Here he's just... Raw's about to go off. This is a card that you cannot let untap, and this is real bad for me.
So let's Thrash, deal 3 to this. And then
it's just deal 3, it's not fight, right?
Yeah. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power. Target creature or planeswalker you don't control. Now, because I cast a spell that targets a creature I control, gets exiled as it resolves. Mm-hmm. And we'll return at the beginning of my next end step. And I don't really have a way to protect this, and Todd's going to try to kill it regardless of what I do.
So only the first time, right? You don't just get it constantly?
No, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery that targets any creature you control. So let's Integrity it and attack for 5, and then we'll buy back both these.
Okay. I'm at 15.
You can go. So, yeah.
Well...
It's a powerful magic card.
Yeah. This is... So I can gamble... I have a Jade Light Ranger and a Necrotic Wound, right? So I could play the Jade Light, try to gamble and hit double creature off the top, or I can just burn both necrotic wounds. This one is tough. I think I just need to kill that stupid thing. I'm just going to double necrotic wound it.
Now I feel stupid because I forgot about necrotic wound, and I definitely should have just left up a pump spell. So another mistake on my side. These heroic decks they're tricky to play.
Yeah, this deck actually seems right up Tom Ross's alley.
Yeah, it is a...
Dude knows how to play some heroic.
Let's play Dreadhorde Arcanist, pass.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, if I just passed with the mana up, I would have gotten to Integrity, keep the feather around, get the Integrity back, trigger a stack, I'll shock it.
Sure. Leave it on top. Play the land. I'll play a find and get back 2 Jade Light Rangers, I guess.
That's gross.
He doesn't have Defiant Strike. The Dreadhorde Arcanist just deals a little more burst damage. It doesn't actually gain him a full card. Sure.
I mean, I have shock in there.
Right, but I mean, you're shocking me. That's not like gaining a card when you...
So Aurelia nicely here does not die to the finality. So let's target the Arcanist, and I think I just want to shock.
Okay, I take 5 at 10. I'm pretty dead.
So yeah, bring you to 10. You can go. I have enough action in my hand. I want to just put pressure on Todd.
Yeah, I mean, I know Ross's hand just has a bunch of pump spells, so I'm pretty
Well, you know these two.
Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm dead if I'll just play it out, whatever. First one, grave. Second one, here. First one, grave. Second one, grave. Okay.
So we got 4-3.
You're good. So here he's just gonna... Can you just kill me with this? Do you have no
You're at 10? No, I'm a little short.
4.
Ooh, that might do it.
Well, first of all, this is just 8 with Integrity Intervention, right? So it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you have any +2, I'm dead.
Yeah, I do not.
Oh, wait, no, it can't target it unless it has 5.
Yeah,
that's
that's a problem.
Never mind.
But it should still be fine. So this Reckless Rage will deal with both Jade Lights, so you can't block. And then, I guess that I already had Thrash, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you can kill both and neither of your creatures die, and you just attack. That's pretty cool.
Okay, so we're going to deal 4 to that Jade Light, 2 to Aurelia.
Yep.
So that Jade Light's down. 3. Oh, no, that'll do it. Okay, so let's Integrity the Arcanist. So it has 3 power.
Okay.
Then I will Thrash 3 damage to that. Then go to combat, target the Arcanist. Now it has 5 power.
Yes, that's 7.
Attack you for 7, target this, and intervention you for 3 more. Because now it has 5 power, this has CMC 5.
That's gas. Okay, yeah. I'm dead. Nice. All right, now let's do some sideboarding.
Whew.
You had, what is the green and white one? I don't even know what that does.
It's the front half is make a thing indestructible and get a counter on it. So it's a protection spell. And the back half just makes 3 2/2s for 6, both instant speed. So it's a secondary protection spell.
Ooh, if you can pump your Dreadhorde Arcanist up to 8, you get to just make 3 knights off of it. That's pretty nice. That's pretty cool. All right. Well, we are going to take a short break here, but get any questions you might have for me and Ross if you want to talk about the new cards from More of the Spark, talk about any of the decks that we've been playing today. We're going to get sideboards up and running. One addendum, my sideboard that was listed is wrong. I'm going to go over that when we do sideboard when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Be right back for more Versus Live. All right, we're back here for sideboarding. Ross here seems pretty straightforward. Why don't you tell us about it?
What to bring in is, I think, is straightforward. Tocatli Honor Guard is excellent in this matchup, and I think you want Lava Coil just to have more answers to Wild Growth Walker, because those are coming in large numbers. Also, just having an exile-based removal spell against a recursion deck seems pretty sweet. Just dealing with, maybe even a Chupacabra or a Jade Light Ranger that could come back at an important spot. The games are going to slow down, get a little bit more removal. And what to bring out is not 100% obvious at all. Beyond the Assure Assemble, which I think neither mode is particularly impressive in this matchup, Todd's pretty good at stopping a bunch of 2/2s, has Necrotic Wound as one of his removal spells, so the Assure isn't guaranteed to prevent anything, though it is better post-board.
I just really want you to use Dreadhorde Arcanist to bring back a symbol. Like that seems like it'd be really cool.
Well, I think just having an 8-power trample creature attacking would be pretty cool.
That's true.
I'm trimming one of a lot of other things because I'm not sure what the worst cards are. Collision Colossus is not great because the Collision half doesn't have targets. But if you want to go really big, which I think in this matchup you might need to because Todd just creates a pretty wide battlefield, then the +4/+2 is important. So I'm cutting one each of it, and Salmon Sprint is pump spells. And then because we're bringing in Honor Guard, we need to cut some creatures. I think as we saw in game 1, Arcanist can be awkward to attack with into a big board, and I don't want to flood on them. And then I'm bringing out one Krenko because unless I can go really big with it, making a few tokens isn't going to do a ton against Todd's deck that's very good at blocking. I think it might just be that Krenko isn't great in this matchup. I mean, I made 8 goblins in game 1, and it wasn't good enough. So maybe we just need to cut all our Krenkos.
Well, I think it should have been good enough. Like, you should have made 10 and done me a little more damage. I kind of walked you into the wrong thing on accident. But on my side, from the sideboard that was posted, it's a little bit different. Ross built this deck without any answers to Kali Honor Guard, and he noticed it pretty quickly before we started the match, so we decided to change some of the sideboard cards and put in 4 cast down, notably trimming the Moments of Craving, which is a pretty easy swap to do, and then some of the other stuff. What we're going to be doing is becoming a lot less of a gimmicky graveyard deck. I think we found out last season that cards like Glowspore Shaman and Stitcher Supplier don't really do enough, but they do enable Molderhulk. So if we're cutting the Stitcher Suppliers and the Glowspore Shamans, I think we can safely trim like a couple Molderhulks, like if 2 at the top end to find your Memorial to Folly, or vice versa. It's something that you can do pretty regularly as you see so many cards in your deck via the Explore package. But we're going to be bringing in the Wild Growth Walkers, cast downs to help deal with some of these early creatures. Notably, doesn't kill Aurelia or Feather, which is potentially problematic as both those cards left unchecked are quite dangerous.
Or Krenko.
I'm dying over here. And then, of course, 2 Crawl Harpooner to help kill Feather as well as Aurelia. And then 1 Vivian Reed for the same reason. And this is... looking a lot more like a generic Golgari deck at this point, but still with a bit of the gimmicky graveyard interaction stuff, a lot of the cool synergies.
That sideboard plan is an admission that your synergies aren't as strong as mine, so you need to become heavily interactive, and that means cutting a lot of your synergy cards. Like Memorial to Folly and Lich Lord are still going to be good cards.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to be, like, blocking a bunch, and you're going to be killing my creatures. Like, all my cards are going to be hitting the graveyard anyway, one way or another. So it's, just fewer of the Molderhulks, I think, is okay. Like, you still have 2, 1 Molderhulk and 1 Memorial effectively goes infinite, so you just never, your Molderhulk just never dies if you want it to. All right. Any questions for us, Rob, while we are finish up shuffling?
Yeah, first for Ross, if you were to take the red-white base, get rid of green, put in blue, would you play Beam Splitter Mage? Is that like a worthy enough reason to be blue?
What does that card do?
Whenever it gets targeted by, I believe, instant or sorcery, it duplicates it for all the creatures you have. So if you pump it pumps all your creatures. Just tell them to read your article. How about
that? That is not a card that I... Is that in the new set?
No, it's that card.
It's whenever you cast an instant or sorcery that targets only Beam Splitter Mage. If you control 1 or more other creatures that spell could target, choose one of those creatures. Copy that spell. The copy targets chosen creature.
Okay, the way Todd made it sound, I was ready to go off with Krenko. It's like make a bunch of tokens, pump them all. Because you can't do that, I think that's the synergy that's exciting. But because I would say, if Feather said you have to target Feather to get the card back, then you could target this, and then get 2 of them, and then get it back. But you can target any creature. So I guess you're still copying it. What are its stats? Like blue-red for a 2/2 or something?
Yeah, blue-red for a 2/2.
I'm not enthralled. I think a lot of these decks are creature light enough because you need to play all the protection and pump that you often don't have multiple creatures in play unless you have an effect like Krenko.
Yep.
And even when you do, just targeting your other thing and having a better creature is probably better. So I'm not enthused.
All right, let's take like one or two more. We haven't really taken that many questions from chat.
Also, why aren't you running giant growth?
I don't think it's better than any of the other pump spells.
It does more overall damage than some of the pump spells, but the other pump spells have additional value. Salmon Sprint gives it haste and a scry. That's pretty good. Integrity Intervention lets you just have a removal spell sometimes, which is pretty cool. And it's also just way easier to cast. This deck is splashing green, and most of the time the green cards in the deck are just split cards that you don't need to cast the green part for, right? Like you just have the hybrid.
Yeah, they're hybrid mana. So yeah, those are the exact points I would have made. I just don't.
Bad.
No, I think it's good. I'm saying I agree with you. So you don't need something to go like super aggressive. Maybe if you wanted to build a Nihilist that had Swiftblade Vindicator, and I do have some lists that get aggressive with Swiftblade Vindicator, you can play Colossus and Giant Growth and just go really big.
Yeah, I mean, I think Colossus is enough. That's what.
Yeah, but again, like
damage by
Colossus is probably enough. So,
all right, let's get to it.
I would love to put a Giant Growth in my deck. Temple Garden. Louis.
The real question is, have you ever main deck Giant Growth at a Pro Tour? One of the people in this room has.
Dreadhorde Arcanist.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
I'm going to kill it. It's going to get out of control. Jade Light Ranger. I will Graveyard. Woodland. Here we go. What you got for me? Anything good?
Go.
Got a feather?
Yeah, go to 18, play Feather.
All right.
You can go.
Attack for 3.
15. So mad at myself.
I think I messed up.
My entire plan was to play Honor Guard that turn, but then I drew the white source for Feather, and now I can double spell on this turn, and I was too enthralled by the idea of curving. Let's play both of those, shocking myself to 13.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
To make you feel any better, I do not have an answer for your Tocatli Honor Guard.
Yeah, I could have played it last turn, and then my Feather would have lived this turn.
All right, here we go.
No attack with the 3/2 Jade Light into my 2/1/3s.
We're holding back the Dreadhorde Arcanist. Just going to put everything in front of it. Everything. Or nothing, depending on if you bump something beforehand or not.
Define Strike the Arcanist.
Am I dead?
That was sweet. You're definitely not dead. This game is far from over. But that was a cool draw. Let's Lava Coil the Jade Light Ranger.
You did.
Attack with my 2/3 Arcanist and flashback the Lava Coil on
or either one, I don't know.
I was just gonna, if I hit this, you double block and I kill Chupacabra. If I hit Chupacabra, you just block with this and I get the same things. But I want the Chupacabra exiled. I guess they both like die to Honor Guard, but if Honor Guard,
a double block to play around up +2/+2.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's a 2/3 anyway.
Yeah.
I'll deal with the Harpooner, and then we'll play a tapped Stomping Ground and pass. So
okay,
we've gotten some card advantage.
Yeah, Dreadhorde Arcanist is pretty good for like stuff like that, you know.
My 4 cards have traded for your 5 cards, and I've blown a Define Strike to do it, but you drew an extra land off of the Jade Light.
All right, I'm going to try to cast down your Tocatli and hope you don't have the protection. That was a really good draw.
11.
Your go.
Now I'm pretty dead. Need a good card. Pass.
Attack.
Shock it.
I will play Memorial to Folly and say go.
Pass.
I will say go.
Pass.
Memorial to Folly, targeting Crawl Harpooner. Give me another creature that can kill Feather or one of the other things. And then now I only have 2 creatures in the graveyard, so I'll 7 mana for Molderhulk and get back Memorial. Your turn.
That's going to be a tough one to beat at 11 life. You can go.
Stack.
I'm at 5.
Here we go. Could just like play some stuff but I just want to play pretty conservatively. You draw like 5 more lands in a row again?
Pretty close. A little late on this one.
Okay.
You can go.
So I have 2 creatures in the graveyard. Okay. Draw. Let's go. Crawl Harpooner.
Resolves.
I'll
Trigger on the
this.
stack, Sheltering Light.
This makes it indestructible.
Yep.
Okay.
Scry 1.
So I can choose not to fight, right?
Probably.
When Crawl Harpooner's battlefield, choose up to 1 target creature with flying you don't control. So I choose 1.
You target it.
So I do it on resolution.
And then on resolution it says gets +X+O or X number, and you may have it. Yeah.
Okay.
So choose not to.
Right.
I'm not sure what I can draw to get back in this game. I kind of needed like something with haste, and I don't have that without a Salmon Sprint already. I don't really have a creature that can contend with Molderhulk. It's so big. This turn I have a free block on it. This doesn't really get me anywhere, right?
What is it?
It's a feather. I'm wondering if like next turn chumping with Aurelia could get me somewhere with the feather, but I don't think it can because it's not like it comes back immediately. So like what spell can I cast once on my turn and once on your turn to be good enough?
I don't know.
I can like integrity it and attack for 5 and then 3 you after getting in for 4 on my turn. That's only 12. But it does gain me 3 life and put me to 8 so I can absorb the Molderhulk attack. But you have the 3/2. I don't think this is good enough, but I don't think anything in my deck is good enough other than the Experimental Frenzies in my sideboard. So I'm going to put one on top of my deck.
I'm gonna put this in the grave. Keep this on top of.
How many creatures you got? 3?
2. Yeah. Go.
Okay, Experimental Frenzy. I like how Todd wasn't paying attention when I just said out loud, this card is the only one that can get me back into it. So I'll put one on top of my deck.
Pretty sure you're dead anyway. That's fine.
Yeah, probably. But it's the only card that possibly can. So let's see what it does.
Okay.
Sheltering Light. Not the best start.
All right. We get to scry. You haven't played a land yet?
I don't think this is going to be good enough because we can't play the spell out of our hand. I think we need... I still don't even know what I can draw. I don't know. We'll bottom that. That's pretty good. Let's Reckless Rage. Maybe I need to try to kill this Molderhulk. Yeah, let's deal 4 to the Molderhulk, 2 to my Aurelia.
Okay.
Land for turn.
Yeah.
10th District Legionnaire.
Okay.
That one's not so good. Okay, I'm very dead.
Yeah.
Deck does not have ways to deal with big creatures, and I was a little slow there. Not sure how the game changes, or if the game changes at all, if I just play the Honor Guard on turn 3.
Yeah, I think it changes pretty significantly, because then you get to play Feather on 4 with like potentially some tricky things going with it. And I just didn't. I had the one cast down or whatever, and like I'd already burned it. I mean, I drew the second one like pretty shortly thereafter, but you would have had like 2 turns with Feather just completely uncontested.
Yeah, and that might have, like, a couple extra cards might have let me been able to like grind through the flood there at the end.
Yeah.
So both games I lost to this deck were close ones that I think different plays could have changed the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Still, I'm not sure if I like this more than the Boros list. I liked some of the green cards. I liked Colossus. I thought Thrash there was pretty good, though you could just play Thrash in the Boros deck. I'm not sure if they're better than just having more Reckless Rages, which do similar things, and only costing 1 is really big.
Yeah, Reckless Rage was really impressive for me. Or at least from my side of things, it was like 1 mana to deal with like a pretty large creature, and you had multiple ways to rebuy it with Feather and Dreadhorde Arcanist, and you were just like completely decimating my board for 1 red mana.
Yeah, and the 2 damage either didn't matter or was a bonus.
Yeah.
All of your creatures are bigger than it, except for Legionnaire and Krenko, and they both get counters, one when it attacks and one when it gets targeted. If you end up making Krenko goblins, you can just target a goblin and throw one of those away if the 2 damage is too important on other things.
Yeah,
it is
I don't know.
So
it looked. I don't know. Your deck looked really cool. Like
Collision
Dreadhorde Arcanist seemed nuts.
Yeah, all the Boros cards are still good, and they were good last week when we played them. So back-to-back good showings from those cards. The question here is how good were the green cards? Collision Colossus and Thrash Threat are both pretty good.
Yeah.
But were they better than just playing cleaner mana and playing more Reckless Rages? Which is
more Reckless Rage and more like Integrity Intervention, I think.
Yeah.
Is just fine.
It's close. I liked Colossus a lot. I think being able to go really big with Krenko or really big with just almost any of your other creatures, like +4 is so much more than 2, which all your other pump spells do. So maybe Collision is worth it. And at that point, Thrash Threat comes along, probably in small numbers. Maybe you want 1 and 2 Reckless Rages. But it's such a small splash.
Reckless Rage just feels like a cheaper version of Thrash Threat because you're like almost never going to cast Threat in that deck. Like that's like turning your Dromoko's command into a 4-mana 4/4.
There are matchups where they just try to play on your lack of threat density with these heroic decks.
Yeah,
and having the extra card that can be a 4/4 is relevant. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
A lot of people want just cheap removal against you because all your other creatures are small. Though unlike heroic decks of old, this deck has some bigger creatures. Aurelia has always been really impressive.
Aurelia and Feather both quite strong, and they don't die to cast down, which is a huge deal. And they don't die to Moment of Craving either. So like 2-mana removal spells. Let's see, like Aurelia doesn't die to Lava Coil. Feather does. I don't know. It's tough, but
Feather's a little awkward on the mana being double white.
Yeah.
Again, adding a third color. I don't know. There's something interesting here. I don't know if it ends up being competitive at the high level tournaments, but these cards are good. They do dope stuff.
Yeah. I don't want to step on anyone's toes or nothing, but I'm pretty sure Tom Ross worked at Wizards of the Coast when this set was being developed, and I have to imagine that he has built something very similar to this and has played it a lot in the future league or whatever.
He's like, why don't we just slip this one in?
Yeah, let's slip in a heroic creature without heroic. Mr. Ross,
it'll be fine. We just have to find Strike and Feather and Dreadhorde Arcanist, and then we went Reckless Rage.
All right. Any questions before we call it a day, Mr. Robert?
Yeah, Ross. What about Thomri's Ambush in this list?
We talked a little bit about that off camera.
Yeah, it's a card I considered. Being sorcery speed is rough.
Is Thrash sorcery?
Threat is. Thrash is not.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. So
Thrash just seems better. You don't get the counter, but being an instant's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and being able to hit a planeswalker sometimes.
And not needing green mana.
Yes, and being easier to cast. So it's hard to fit a lot of those cards in, and I think Thrash Threat is better, just more versatile, over just the extra battle growth.
Why would they make a card that's just like the front half of this card, but just doesn't?
Probably more for limited. Makes sense. That it's a
this. Remember, was it Blood? What was the split card? It was like Blood and
Flesh Blood,
and like the front one was like that. The front half of that, except it could just hit players. Like
Goraclaim Blood people.
Is that too good? Why can't we just have that?
With Colossus in the format and
with freaking Dreadhorde Arcanist. Boom boom. Just shotgun. All right. Let's do 2 more, and then we'll call it a day.
All right. What's your favorite Esper list you've played so far?
There weren't a whole lot of Esper colored good cards previewed right off the bat, so we haven't really played a good Esper deck, right?
Played Esper Hero today.
Your Esper Hero deck today looked really sweet.
Yeah, very similar to the Esper deck I played last week, which is more legend heavy. Mm-hmm. If you ask me which one I like the most, I say the one from last week because
really, this one looked awesome.
I mean, the one that I emotionally like the most, because I just want to play with Karn's Temporal Sundering and Yawgmoth's Vile Offering.
Sure.
But if you ask me which one I think is better, it's probably the Hero version. Though, the list last week also performed well, and I got to cast, Karn's Temporal Sundering and Instant Speed. But I think Enter the God Eternals is so good.
Yeah, the card's nice.
So the list from today is really promising. And as I said, I'm going to be getting the BCW team working on that one for Richmond while I figure out what I'm doing at this crazy Mythic Championship.
Yeah, probably playing Tron with the Mulligan rule.
We'll see.
London Mulligan. What? You have 2 people
Phoenix,
on your team. 2 of your teammates are Tron aficionados. 3, who's the third?
Joe.
I meant like who you team open with. Jim and Montana both are Tron experts. Anyway, one more question.
If you had a tournament tomorrow, which deck would you play?
Probably the Esper deck. Has a lot of proven cards in it, and just sort of obviously stats powerful cards like Enter the God Eternals and Teferi, I think are both really good, and they work well together, and they work well in the context of the deck.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to go super hard in week 1. That's a deck that has a proven shell that didn't last through the tournament but was good in week 1 because the cards are powerful, that is adding more good cards, gets to cut some of its weaker ones, so the Esper Hero deck for sure.
I would probably play Team of Reclamation with
What a surprise.
With Rao's Outburst. I think Rao's Outburst is a perfect fit for the deck, allowing you not only to interact on the turn where you cast Wilderness Reclamation, but also getting a card out of the deal. It's just like a perfect fit for the strategy in general.
Another like take a good deck, it gets one good new addition, find room for that, maybe a different sideboard card here or there.
And obviously, we still have a couple more weeks of playing with these cards. We don't even have the full set yet, so like there could be something that comes out tomorrow or later tonight or whatever that someone previews and could just change how we think about things. But like, I don't know, man. I really like Dreadhorde Arcanist, and I would love to figure out a way to make that work, because I'm going to stand by what I said. I think Dreadhorde Arcanist is going to be it in Legacy. I think it is it. If you're not playing that card, it seems like Deathray Shaman stuff like that potentially oppressive to me. I don't know exactly what shell to build it in or whatever, but like that card is messed up in a format with a ton of 1-mana cards that are all great.
Well, you got some time to figure out the Legacy format with it. See what you bring to a team open, maybe.
Oh yeah, no, you gonna get it. Don't worry. I hope I play you in the second round. Oh, you're not gonna be on Legacy. I'll just bash Tannen's brains in. Although at that point he'll probably know my deck list because we talk anyway. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for Versus Live today. 6 new decks in the book, all using War of the Spark cards, and honestly, the set looks great. I am just over the moon about not only the story feels really cool. I thought that having so many Planeswalkers in the set would make them not feel as special, but it feels like everyone's coming to the fight. This is it. And either they're all going to die or some of them will die and Nicol Bolas is going to win. I honestly, I'm a Calcano fan. Calcano tweeted the other day he hopes Nicol Bolas wins. Me too. Let's get some new blood up in here. Just fast forward a million years or whatever, Nicol Bolas finally dies, and then some new Planeswalkers appear.
Yeah, sure. I'm never going to have a strong opinion either way on lore, but I do think the set looks sweet. Early on, I'm used to the way they've done preview seasons in the past where a lot of the best cards are front-loaded. Mm-hmm. And early on, I didn't see a lot, and I thought it was being front-loaded again without thinking about how they were changing things for the lore.
I was thrown
but it seems
back
like
with the Enter the God Eternals when they showed them, just like, oh, it just got real.
We've seen some really powerful cards. Dreadhorde Arcanist and the Heroic cards all seem good. Enter the God Eternal seems really good. Nicol Bolas seems really good. Liliana, Dreadhorde General, seems really good. Some other removal spells that we'll surely see some play. Dovin's Veto, Teferi, Time Raveler. Whether the gods are good.
There's a ton of hits, man.
Yeah, there's a lot. So I think there's 4 or 5 really obvious hits, and that's more than I've seen in the last couple sets. So should be a good time. I think we're about at sub time.
Yeah, we got.
Can we get a Subway sponsorship for this section of the show? Cedric, can we work on that?
No.
Yeah, there we go.
Subway sucks.
Well,
yeah. Well, thanks for ruining our chances.
The Scarab 463, Hollow Hunter.
Thank you.
Dakmas, Hail Me 786, Dolfo 10564, and Ias Villa. Thank you for subscribing.
Yeah, very much appreciated. Thanks for supporting the show. We, the graphics and all the cards we play with and everything, it really helps a lot. Your support, so much appreciated to all the subs and just for being here, hanging out with us.
Yeah. So we are going to be back for more War of the Spark on Thursday, though. When I say we, I really just mean Todd, because I'm going to be
by myself.
I'm going to be taking a couple days to go back home. I'm going to be with my family celebrating my sister's recent engagement. So have a couple days off, and then I'll be hitting prepare mode over the weekend for the Mythic Championship in London next week. So you will not see me this Thursday, and instead you will see a special guest who...
Whoa, what if the special guest wins the marbles?
Are they just going to take them home?
I think they have to. I think those are the rules. You just win the marbles.
Well, the pressure's on Todd.
I know.
Thing is, if I won today, then you couldn't bequeath them to the special guest. But now that you won them today, there's the potential for that.
Yeah, have them back. I concede.
No, the pressure's on.
Look, whoever it is, if they win, I am just giving them the marbles. You know that, right?
Yeah,
it's honor bound.
Better win.
That's too much pressure.
Good luck.
All right.
So look out for that. If we announce it early, I don't really know. If we don't, then you're just going to have to show up and see who the special guest is. But they're going to be great, and Todd's going to be great. Going to be right here, twitch.tv/SCG Tour. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can join us live Tuesday, Thursday at 1 p.m. And that is going to be all for today.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching Versus Live by StarCityGames.com. That's Ross Merriam. I'm Todd Anderson. We'll see you soon.